our preseason reactions going. It's going to be a good night. So I'm going to send out the final warning here. Draft is already full. Once this draft ends, make sure you guys are paying attention. We will be dropping a second link tonight as well. So we got Pete in the house. What's going on, man?
Not much. I am pumped up. We had a full weekend of football, basically. Lots of little tidbits. I feel like there were a lot of losers this weekend. Maybe not a whole lot of winners for us out here, but a lot of losers and a lot of stuff to talk about. So I'm excited here. Get a couple of draft ins because I've been complaining. I haven't been picking high enough. And now with the 1-4 tonight, I'm excited to figure some things out.
There you go. Luck fell your way. Well, I guess no random orders anymore. But
I'm the first one here, so
I forgot about that for a second. Yeah, forgot. We get first dibs. I always just got to pick something kind of random and try to switch it up. But good for you, getting some practice from the 1-4, and we've got all of our leagues filled. I will say I might be able to squeeze in one more league if we get enough people who want to do it. But I know you're looking forward to being in. We got you in 3 leagues this year, I think. So should be fun. And yeah, I'll take a quick look. I kind of did this each stream the past 2 days, went through just some quick stats from each of the games. We just had 2 games today. We of course had a tie between the Zach Wilson led Dolphins and the Tyson Badgett led Bears. Nonetheless, here, a couple players to watch for in this game. Devon Achane got a little bit of action, 3 carries for 22 yards. He did average 7.3 yards per carry. No catches for Achane in this matchup, but I think the bigger question is kind of the battle between Ollie Gordon and Jalen Wright, and like who the presumed handcuff would be behind Devon Achane. And well, we didn't really get an answer because not only did both of those running backs have pretty decent days, but so did Alexander Madison. So we look at the stats here. Ollie Gordon had 8 carries, 33 yards on the ground, and a tutty. He also had a reception that went for 39 yards. Jalen Wright had 9 carries, 16 yards, and a tutty. And Alexander Madison, 3 carries, 8 yards, but a touchdown, and he also had a catch for 21 receiving yards. I feel like we got no answers there, and that was really the only thing to watch for fantasy-wise in this game. Tua got a drive in, 5 of 6, 27 yards, whatever. In terms of receivers, we did get a little Malik Washington action, a little Nick Westbrook-Akine action. And speaking on the Dolphins, I do want to mention this. Jalen Waddle is hurt. Surprise. He is a yeah. I mean, a true midseason form comes Jalen Waddle. He is dealing with an undisclosed minor injury, but I thought I read it was an ankle injury. Hold on. That's what Sleeper has in terms. It's just saying undisclosed, but he suffered an apparent injury against the Bears in their joint practice on Friday, and that's why he didn't play in the preseason game. But yeah, the injury is undisclosed. So I like when I read minor injury undisclosed, that makes me more nervous than just like knowing what the injury is. So want to put that out there. Jalen Waddle on the injury report. Do what you want with that information. Could impact ADP as the next couple days go on. In terms of the Bears, we really didn't see. I mean, there were things to look for here. Okay, we know Roschon Johnson is hurt. So in terms of who's going to be the guy right now, if he's not ready week 1 behind DeAndre Swift, I don't know that we got any true answers here. We saw 6 carries to the rookie Kyle Monagani. I don't know how to say his name correctly. 7 carries to Deion Hankins, 7 to Ian Wheeler, and 2 to Travis Homer. And I had no idea Case Keenum was still in the league, but he had a pretty good day at quarterback today.
I had 2 people say that to me today too when we were like just talking. Yeah. They're like, Case Keenum still plays?
Shout out Case Keenum. He also had a carry for 2 yards. But yeah, we saw, spread out to the different running backs here. I don't think we got any true answers. They all played I mean, I would say Kyle Monagani, I mean, 5 yards per carry, probably had the best day, but I don't know exactly at what point he went in. So I guess worth noting Travis Homer had 2 catches as well. And Ian Wheeler had a catch too.
I think the
Ah,
biggest takeaway from this game is that Caleb Williams will get benched for Tyson Badgett if you know Ben
maybe for
Johnson
Case
feels like
Keenum. Yeah.
no, but like Caleb is getting cut from this team. It's over. I'm already selling it. It's done.
I mean, Keenum is a legend. Um, the only other thing I would note is Luther Burden had 2 catches. I mean, Colston Loveland did play. I think is worth noting as well. He had a catch for 8 yards because he's been banged up. But yeah, not a lot of fantasy action from the Bears today. And we had the Saints Chargers to wrap things up for week one's preseason. Tyler Shuck threw a pick six, but he also threw a 54-yard bomb to Mason Tipton. And I would say he's the hot hand at quarterback right now. Okay, that's not bad. Um, Tyler Shuck had 1 carry for 3 yards. Jake Hainer had 1 for 7. Jake Hainer was 5 of 8, 41 passing yards and a pick. So I think I mean, like, you're willing to give your fifth round rookie quarterback a pick six in his first preseason game. Like, I mean, if Kyler Murray can throw the pick he threw last night, like,
There's no pick worse than the Kyle Murray pick last night. You're fine. He's fine. You're right. He's totally fine.
I mean, we're looking at the options for the Saints, which this will impact fantasy. Whoever this Saints starting quarterback is, whether you're looking at Kamara or Olave or a deep best ball pick at quarterback. I mean, like, we are talking about one of these 3 guys is going to start, unless they trade for Trey Lance, who I didn't. We'll talk about Trey Lance in a second here, but other than that, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is on the Saints and Cam Akers is on the Saints, and we're really, I mean, I guess we are looking at who the next man up is. And Kendre Miller had 6 touches, but I don't think we got any answers there. And I don't think we got any answers for Saints wide receivers who aren't named Chris Olave. I mean, we saw a lot of Saints wide receivers on the field today, some tight ends, some running backs. I don't think there are any true answers. Mason Tipton did make a big play. I guess you could argue that. But Chargers, like, barely practiced this week, canceled a scrimmage because they are very fearful of injuries, and I don't blame them. But Trey Lance is just being thrown out into the fire, and kind of like that. He was fine today. It's 7 rushing attempts for 8 rushing yards and a touchdown with 7 of 14 for 55 passing yards. I think keeps trending this direction. Trey Lance is solidifying himself as the QB2 for the Chargers. In terms of running backs not named Omarion Hampton, I don't know that we really got any answers today. And once again, I don't know that the Chargers were really playing anybody. Like, you look at the names today for running backs and receivers that played. I mean, they're really looking at deep cuts at this point. They've already played one preseason game, where a lot of the teams outside of the Steelers this weekend had only played one, and Steelers and Chargers obviously played the Hall of Fame game. So not a lot to look for, but, Trey Lance, we like a good redemption arc around here, let's go. QB2 is like one of the best jobs in the NFL. So, but yeah, that is everything from today. And, I've kind of broken down every preseason game from this past week throughout the course of the last 2 streams. But if there's anything that stood out to you, Pete, that you want to bring up, any players that you think maybe brought more fantasy opportunity upon them, or you want any comments on your Vikings, anything that you got, and then
Okay.
we'll.
I don't know
Oh,
if everybody's ready for these hot takes. Just kidding. I'm sure you guys. Travion Henderson, I know you talked about a little bit. It was Friday night. Gotta just love that he's on kick return duty. That adds a whole another element. Even if he's not going to get the starting touches in New England, positive signs all around for that team. They look super well coached, super well, like, prepared. They look like the most prepared team this weekend. So kind of high on all my New England stock. Drake Bay, Stephon Diggs when he goes out there and plays. We'll figure out who the second wide receiver target is. Who the hell knows up there. So I did like a lot of that. I mean, I got to maybe shout out to the man on the cover of my stream, Justin Fields. Like the Justin Fields mania is gonna go
Yeah.
through the roof. Just the Jets have an identity. They're gonna play defense, and Aaron Glenn might call some pass plays, but they're going to run Justin Fields like 40 times a game. And if he dies, he dies. He doesn't care. So
Yeah.
we're going to see a lot of Justin Fields, I think. So I would maybe lean to taking Justin Fields higher than we've seen pretty much all offseason. People like him as that flyer quarterback, but I think you're going to see him like ahead of Herbert, ahead of Lawrence. I could see some people starting to take, like, I'm massively concerned about Kyler Murray. Like, he's just given short people a bad rep over there that he can't play quarterback, but nothing too crazy. I thought, the rookies, the rookie playmakers didn't look good at all. Mostly they didn't really do anything. Cam Ward and Calvin Ridley, that feels like a real thing right now. So I'm high on Calvin Ridley, and Cam Ward looked like he's got a little bit of something.
Yeah.
And then injuries everywhere, little nicks and bruises to a lot of RB2s.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think Trayvon Henderson, I don't, is probably the player in terms of fantasy, like ADP, who's going to see the biggest jump. And it is kind of funny because, like, I mean, he was fine for what he did, like, in terms of actually playing with the offense, but like, he's getting that jump from, a kickoff return, which is completely fine. I'm not like, bashing that or anything, but I mean, there is a world where maybe as the season goes on, he's not even utilized as a kick returner because he has such an actual role on the offense. But, Trayvon Henderson was already a player that, like, in later rounds was like a target for a lot of people this offseason. A lot of people a big fan of him. So I think that's just been solidified. And I have seen him just in the past 48 hours move up in ADP for sure. But yeah, Justin Fields, I think Justin Fields is going to be comfortably drafted. I mean, earlier in the offseason, like before the injury happened, he was being drafted in the Kyler Murray range. And I think right now, I won't be surprised if he starts to go ahead of Kyler Murray. So, like, we're looking at, the elite tier up to Burrow, then Mahomes, Mayfield, Knicks, Goff. I think Fields is right there. Maybe you'll see him fall behind like Goff, Kyler, Herbert, but I don't think he falls any further than that. And he definitely will be in the area of Prescott, Stroud, Purdy, but I think he'll be above them. I think the rushing upside will outweigh everything. And I mean, if he doesn't play another preseason snap and he stays healthy, I still think that's the case. And once again, Justin Fields was a player that before the injury was at times going in that range, and people weren't afraid to take him because of the implications in terms of rushing upside. So, I talked about this in today's video that I put out, like, any concern about the injury has now been wiped away. Like, he's obviously able to use his legs. And like the play that he scored the touchdown on, like, that was not like a design run by any stretch. I mean, that was a, pressure, defenders in his face, and he made a play. Braylon Allen, or was it Braylon Allen or Isaiah Davis? Either way, backup running back who's not Breece Hall, helped him out. If you watch the play, he's like in the end zone pretending like he's calling for a pass, and it helps shake the defender who could have been there to tackle Fields, but it's still a great play by Justin Fields. And it's exactly what you want to see if you've had interest in Justin Fields this offseason, right? We don't really care about, and he was fine throwing the football, but we don't care about that anyways. We just care about, can Justin Fields run the football still? So
yeah, that's it. And we know we can run the football. And
yeah,
the question is, can he stay healthy running the ball if he's going to run the ball a lot? Because I think they're just going to tell him like one read, maybe two reads, tuck it and go, man. Just, we don't really care. Don't turn it over.
Yeah. So yeah, I was stoked about that. And yeah, Cam Ward to Calvin Ridley is definitely going to be a thing. And it looked good for sure. That connection is definitely there. And Cam Ward looked good too. And, obviously we have the injury to Tajay Spears. So Tony Pollard's another player who's his ADP is rising just slightly, nothing crazy, but like he is for sure a player in the range where he goes that will be drafted. It's not even a discussion. I was happy to see some JJ McCarthy to Jordan Addison this week.
Too bad we don't get it for the first 3 games this season.
It's okay, it's there, and that's all that matters to me. But yeah, I mean, obviously a lot to break down, and we went through everything past 2 streams. So once again, in the chat, if you guys have anything that has stood out now that we are officially done with week 1 of preseason, whether you guys want to overreact or underreact, let us know. And we'll break down some more of it. Let me see what's going on in the chat. We can keep getting into it. All right. Charlie, what's going on, bro? Hello. We have you in the... Yeah, we got you at the 1-9 tonight. What's up? J Fitness is in the house. I guess I'm going Monty. See, like Henderson is... I mean, I've even seen him go before Connor and Chuba, but he's just not going to really last past the middle of the 5th round anymore. Mr. Magic, rank these guys full PPR: JSN, Wilson, Higgins, Tyreek. I will say, I mean, the Dolphins wide receiver room is kind of a conundrum right now. Like Waddle might be banged up. I mean, he is, but we don't know what the severity is. Hill may or may not be getting traded. Is that just a smokescreen? Like, I mean, they're saying Tyreek Hill has an oblique injury, but then like word on the street is he just doesn't want to practice. He wants to entertain trades, and some people were saying that's a smokescreen. Like, I don't know. I still think Tyreek Hill is a good value at times. Depends on your build. Depends on how far he falls. But I think ultimately I would view this tier basically exactly in this order. I'm still higher on JSN than consensus. I might put Garrett Wilson in front of JSN. Those two are really close for me. And I really like Higgins. He's a bit boomer bust still. I love T. Higgins. I think he's a great value coming off a season where he averaged over 18 fantasy points per game. But I'm not confident in T. Higgins being my wide receiver 1, if that makes sense. It depends on the build. He's a wide receiver 2 or 3. I feel really good, but a wide receiver 1. Yeah, I mean, like, look at Pete's team. Sorry, I guess I'm kind of calling out Pete's team tonight. For a double hero RB approach, like you have the upside at running backs. Like I don't hate it, especially because there is really good value at wide receiver between, the 4th and 7th round. So I don't hate it, but it just kind of depends, I guess, on what wide
I almost went triple. I really thought about going Chuba there too and just say, screw it, playing 3 running backs. We'll figure out wide receiver.
Yeah. See, it's a tough tier. And tonight you see the board: Hill, Higgins, Garrett Wilson, JSN. So like these guys have a lot of shift to them per se. All right, sniped on DeAndre Swift. Heavy running back draft tonight. So I guess I'm going Tony P. But yeah, it's a tough tier wide receivers there. Should we fade A-Chain? No.
No, never.
No. I mean, whatever's going on with Waddle and or Tyreek Hill, I mean, these could only be positive things for A-Chain. He might get 140 targets at this point, Now, the less fluent the offense is and the more they struggle, the less they have key playmakers. That does impact A-Chain, but like I think A-Chain is going to be completely fine either way,
Here's a slight worry I have.
Sure.
So, say things don't go great. Does Miami play Quinn Ewers? Because Quinn Ewers is kind of lit up camp. He lit up the joint practice this week. They really are high on him. Like, if things go south, say week 8, they're 1-7. They could just pack it up, and then you're playing Quinn Ewers, and A-Chain still has good value. But what does a guy like Waddle or Tyree, if Tyreek's still there, what does that look like? Because that could get really weird really fast, I think.
Yeah, I think it's too tough. I think they would. I think they would tank with Tua. I mean, years ago it was tank for Tua.
Take four, two, and take with
Yeah,
Tua.
I think because at that point, like, I mean, what's the next move? Like, they have to trade Tua, so I think that they would still be trying to like win every game and have Tua on display. I mean, he's locked into a pretty substantial contract, so I think once again, like here in the preseason and training camp going on, they might be if he's lighting up training camp and everything, then I mean, I think the Dolphins have been in need of a true QB2.
Hey,
So,
Skylar Thompson crushed
yeah,
this weekend.
yeah. And he's not on the Dolphins
I
anymore,
know he's on Pittsburgh, but I'm
Yeah,
saying
yeah,
like Dolphins got their
he did.
backups. But again, you could like pack up Tua, say, hey, does somebody need Tua? He's not hurt. He's totally fine and healthy. If
Well, then I
Ewers is
guess
good. If it's a
the
blow up, because
other
I think the Dolphins are trending towards they got to blow this whole thing up.
yeah, the other scenario would be Tua does get hurt and then
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you know, Quinn Ayers is the guy who comes in because I do think he is ahead of Zach Wilson right now, who looked just sad today. Um, I mean, typical Zach Wilson fashion out there today. So, um, I it's a bit of a hypothetical, and I think at that point, I'm still okay with Devon A. Chain, no matter what, because he's played with some pretty poor quarterbacks and been okay. Although last year his success was, sorry guys, I didn't realize this was up on the screen, essentially tied to his health. So, I think it's too early to say fade A Chain, but we shall see. Let us know in the chat how you guys are feeling about the Miami wide receivers with the new Waddle news in terms of injury and what you guys think in terms of Tyreek Hill. Ray Gamer, random post. How you guys doing? Mr. Magic says, I'm scared for Marvin Harrison Jr. I am kind of scared right now. And I've gone back and forth because, like, I think positive regression is still there for MH this year. But, like, the coaching staff hasn't changed, and I'm just afraid that they're going to end up using MH like the same exact way they did last year, which doesn't benefit him. I'm not as worried about the fact that Kyler Murray threw a bad interception in a preseason game. Like, in reality, right? We have a very limited sample size of Kyler Murray from the preseason, and every other pass from Kyler was really good. And in a full game, like the interception would happen, and he would keep playing, and it. I mean, you look at a lot of his games last year, like you probably get a decent game out of Kyler at worst. I mean, Kyler threw a lot of interceptions last year, right? I'm still a QB10 in fantasy with 11 interceptions last year. So, uh, outside of that, I mean, he was super accurate last night. He was 7 of 8. So, I don't know. I don't want to overreact too much here. It's really easy this time of year to just completely overreact. And I can understand, like, if you've been drafting a lot of Marvin Harrison Jr. and like a lot of Trey McBride, and maybe you're kind of like, because there were times last year that offense wasn't great for fantasy. They were very spiky up and down. I mean, even, it felt like Trey McBride's true upside was somewhat limited
Two
because,
touchdowns all year. Two
yeah.
touchdowns for him, I think.
Well, one was a rushing touchdown, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
no.
know. He didn't have a receiving touchdown until like week 15 or something like that.
Okay, so he had one. He had a
Receiving touchdown
receiving
week
touchdown.
17.
Yeah, and then one in week 18. Then he had a rushing
He had
touchdown
a rushing
somewhere.
touchdown early.
Yeah. So it felt like, I mean, the
He was
true
tight end
upside
3.
could have been
Tight end
way
3.
higher.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
He easily could have been tight end 1 last year.
And he missed a game last year too, week 4. So, you know, I don't know. I can understand the concerns, but once again, just like it's really easy to look at Jalen Coker on the Panthers and get excited, it's also really easy to look at Kyler Murray and the Cardinals offense right now and be a little bit hesitant. But we don't want to over or underreact. We just want to take everything in and start to play some hypotheticals about how these things could impact players from a fantasy perspective. Um, And ultimately, like I think the most substantial things to look at right now are the injuries, right? Like Matthew Golden's now going in the 7th round with confidence because Jaden Reed's walking around in a walking boot. And Romeo Dobbs still on this team. Tucker Kraft's still there and still going to run a lot with Jacobs, but it is looking like the opportunity for Golden to play as a true wide receiver one is coming in now.
He can't be a wide receiver one. He's number 22.
Yeah.
It's off the board.
I mean, I like Golden more if Jaden Reed is healthy. I actually think it'll help Matthew. Like, it's not like there was a tremendous amount of targets or passing volume on this team last year, so it's not like the volume is just going to disappear if Reed is on the field. And I always think for rookie wide receivers, it's good if there is a talented wide receiver on the field. And ultimately, I mean, I think, like Romeo Dobbs is fine, but you go back to last year, the Packers weren't even in the top 25 in terms of most passing yards by team. They ran the football a ridiculous amount. So we'll find out. And I mean, he had Sauce Gardner on him, so it's kind of tough to get a read. But I still think, all things considered, Golden looked okay. What's going on, Andrea?
He should have wore number 12.
Pete really upset about the number 22.
Well, yeah. Well, apparently it was to honor his grandmother, whose favorite number was 2. But Malik Willis wanted $500,000, so he took 22. He should have took 12. Forget Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I guess that number will probably. That'll probably be retired, right?
That's gone. Yeah.
That's a tough pick right here. It's like the dead zone or wide receivers once Ricky Pearsall's gone. And Godwin sometimes falls to this area. I'm still okay taking Godwin. For me, it's between 2 players here. I'm going to go Dobbins.
Starting running back.
That's right. How early should Diggs go? I mean, once again, you have this stretch of wide receivers like mid-6 through the 7th round. I think Diggs could go anywhere in that area. And I think Diggs is a great value right now. I still really, really like Stephon Diggs where he goes in drafts, but like I think he could go before Jerry Jeudy or even a Jacoby Myers, who I really like. But you see, like tonight, you see, Rashee Rice falls to 6'4". He's really starting to fall in drafts, but Waddle, Adunze, Rice, Jeudy, Myers, Olave, Debo, Shakir, Addison, Diggs, Godwin, Golden, Agbukba, Cup. I mean, really, you can see Diggs go anywhere in that range, but I think it's perfectly okay for him to go as early, as the middle of the 6th round, because he is locked in as a wide receiver one, in my opinion, on the Patriots. And he's looked good through training camp. More Fields glaze. I mean, hey, we are long. Well, I am a long time.
I'm not. Justin Fields can't throw the football, but he's good for fantasy because he can run a lot.
Fantasy wise, I've always been a Justin Fields believer. It has hurt me at times. It has helped me at times. JSN with Darnold is scary. I mean, I don't really agree with this. Justin Jefferson was the wide receiver 2 last year. Jordan Addison was wide receiver 21. I mean, it's a different system. Kevin O'Connell's not leading the way here. And I mean, at the end of the season, Darnold did start to look like he was seeing ghosts again. But I mean, no matter how you want to slice it,
Jason's going to catch a lot of passes.
And Darnold had an MVP caliber season last year.
Let's not get carried away. I already had to fight my chat on well, it wasn't last night. It was like Thursday or something about Darnold had 4 turnovers and no touchdowns in a game last year. Everybody forgets that.
Who cares? And I'll say this much. This is going to be a run for a system with Clint Kubiak as the OC. And listen, I like Cooper Kupp to a degree. Like, I don't think he's 100% dead in the water. And it is going to be an interesting battle for the rest of the wide receivers here. But if you guys have been paying attention, I like Torrey Horton, the rookie, a lot, and he's been lighting up training camp. He did well in the preseason action, scored a touchdown against the Raiders. And MVS could have a role here. Jake Bobo's hanging around. There's going to be a little tight end battle led by the rookie Elijah Araro out of Miami, who a lot of people are giving the nod to over AJ Barner. But, and once again, Kenneth Walker / Charbonnet will get more targets and receptions under this system for sure. But well, all that being said, like it is JSN is the number one, like, there's not even a debate. JSN is the number one target, and we'll see all of the volume here. And Sam Darnold, no matter how anyone feels about him, is good enough to support JSN. I mean, Geno Smith has been very accurate the past couple of seasons. He's had his own issues too. It's not like, I think Geno Smith is fine, but it's not like Geno Smith is a phenomenal quarterback. Darnold will be good enough, and I'm not worried about JSN personally. Who am I drafting? Yeah, Jordan Mason goes at the 8-7. For me, it was Dobbins or Mason with that last pick. I guess we go ahead and mention that Rachaad White is hurt, since we haven't talked about that. I guess I'm going to go tight end a little early, and I'm going to go Ingram, take 2 Broncos back to back. But yeah, what I'm interested to look for is if Sean Tucker starts to get some looks in some of these mocks. I don't know if he will in like a 12-team mock. I think an underdog or deeper drafts, he will, being that he did score a touchdown in his limited preseason action. But, I do think Bucky, like he goes to 2-7 tonight. I think Bucky is now solidified in the 2-5 to 2-8 area. It's going to depend on the draft because it's still a really strong tier of running backs with Jacobs and Chase Brown and JT. I'm glad that Kyron's back in that range. I guess I'm not glad, but I've viewed him as that high throughout the offseason. And now Hampton has crept into that area or just outside of it. So, I do think that the main result here is that Bucky is like leading that tier, maybe behind Jacobs. I guess looking at the board behind JT still for some people, but ultimately Rachaad White is a very, very good pass blocker. Very, very good in pass protection. And that's, I think, the saving grace here for Rachaad White, who, once again, like Rachaad White could be ready week 1. And Sean Tucker is not great in terms of his pass protection. So I do think some people are looking at this like, should we be moving Bucky up? Because this is still a 1A, 1B potential with Sean Tucker if he's the 1B, He's not Rachaad White. He can't be, in theory, a third down back because he's not as good of a pass protector, but Sean Tucker could get volume still if Rachaad White's not ready. But I think ultimately I'm fine with Bucky being turned to notch up in ADP. But until we get a true diagnosis, I'll probably take Rachaad White at the value now.
can't quit him. Just can't quit him.
And it's not just Rachaad White. You know what I mean? Like, we have to look at some of these players that are dropping in ADP because people are just assuming like, oh, they're hurt, so I don't want to draft them, which to a degree is fair. But like, you see like Joe Mixon in the 7th, like I'm starting to look at Joe Mixon a lot and be like, dude, if Joe Mixon's ready by week 2 or 3, like, then he just becomes a super solid value where he's being drafted now. You know what I mean? Chris Godwin's dropping. Like, I drafted him tonight, so he didn't really drop. But there comes a point in drafts where like Godwin is just a value. It's the same thing as like Jordan Addison. Like, Addison is just a value because like we know he's gonna miss 3 games, but oh well, like you just start to plan for him not being there for 3 games, and then like what to expect after that. So it's like, I get it, with injury, the risk for re-injury will go up, right? But like, if some of these guys who are hurt are ready week 1, then like, what does your viewpoint become? Like, you're probably still going to be willing to draft them. Like if Jaden Reed is ready week 1, he falls to the 9-2 tonight, which not like a lot of people are super high on Jaden Reed as is, but at what point do you say, oh, like I don't really care about this given ADP? All right. So I'm gonna put my money where my mouth is tonight. I'm gonna draft Justin Fields right here. Oh, my screen is lagging. Maybe I'm not. There we go. Backup screen's not working. Take him ahead of Goff, Kyler, and Herbie. Starting to practice a little bit, not waiting until the very last 2 or 3 rounds to get my quarterback and tight end.
Yeah,
Because I think
it's a good.
we're in that time in the off season where we have to kind of prepare for that. What's going on, JW? I actually like Pete and John's team when I'm not drafting with them. There we go. Don't worry, we're going to run a second mock after this one. We got a couple more rounds, and then we will be running a second mock. We'll do team reviews still. Tua QB1, Dolphins number 1, says Prey. There you go. There's your guy. Micah, do you think a London and Henry start will be better than a CMC London or A-Chain London in full PPR from the 111? Yeah, and like on Sleeper, for example, London is a little bit lower, but I think on some other apps he's a little bit higher. But like, he's a beginning of the second round, sometimes mid. Like I got him at the 2-6 in tonight's draft. So I would say generally speaking, I mean, all these combinations are fine. I don't I hate this answer, but like none of these combinations are really that different for me. Like I think we're splitting hairs with Henry CMC A-Chain, and then it's just London's the option in all of these for wide receiver. So I would, in my rankings, like I have these guys ranked as Henry CMC A-Chain. So I guess that would be the order that I would go for, but it kind of depends on your personal opinion on Christian McCaffrey. Actually, I may have A-Chain in front of C-Mac. Let me check. Because that also makes... Yeah, I do. So let me take that back. I was thinking... I think the risk is still baked in when it comes to Christian McCaffrey for me. So I'll say that's my answer. I'll go Henry, Lundo, A-Chain, Lundo, C-Mac, Lundo. But if you're higher on Christian McCaffrey, then either of these guys I'm okay with it. I still trust Henry the most here. I think Henry needs just over 1,300 rushing yards this year to become to break into the top 10 all time, or he is number 10 all time in terms of rushing yards. And I think they're going to try and get him as close as possible. I don't think they really need to try that hard either. I was really, really high on Derrick Henry last offseason. He had 1,900 rushing yards last year. Like if he regresses from last year, it's like he's still a top 10 running back in fantasy as long as he's healthy. So I'll take the floor with Henry, then I'll go Lundo. Then I still think the risk is associated with CMC. So, but all reports this offseason are that CMC is 100%. Jay Fitness, what's up with the 1-1-1-2 turn today? 2 QBs and 2 tight end teams. Yeah, I haven't even noticed. But yeah, Vincent with McBride, JD5, Nix, Chance with Bowers, Hurts, Hawkinson. But some good values there. They both just went tight end early. But JD5 and Hurts at the beginning of the 5th, Nix in the 8th, Hawk in the 8th as well. Is Hawkinson? Never mind. I was gonna say, wasn't he banged up, but he played, so I guess
Yeah,
he's fine.
he's a little banged up. I just don't know. He didn't. McCarthy didn't look at Hawkinson much on
Yeah.
Saturday. That's all I'll say. He had Hawkinson a couple of times on third down, and he didn't really look at him.
Yeah, I've been pretty low on Hawkinson. Like, I just feel like, I mean, I don't dislike Hawkinson. I just feel like his ADP's been kind of caked up this offseason. Like, I'd rather just wait and get Mark Andrews or Evan Ingram, or if I don't get one of those guys, I go for like an Njoku or Tucker Kraft. I get that Hawkinson wasn't fully healthy last year, but like, I don't know. I mean, last year was pretty frustrating if you own TJ Hawkinson. He wasn't really that great, and we saw the Vikings utilize a lot of tight end sets that put other rando tight ends out there.
Hey, they're not random. They're collected.
Okay.
We collect tight ends. We signed another tight end this past week because we need to have 6 or 7 practicing at all times.
Well, I just didn't want to disrespect any of them because I couldn't remember some of the names that we
Johnny Munt, the GOAT.
Johnny Munt. There we go.
Johnny Munt.
We need to get Pete a Johnny Munt jersey, although he's not a Viking anymore.
No,
but
he's on the Jags, so hey, the Trevor Lawrence to Johnny Munt connection is gonna hit like crack.
Yeah. He's the tight end. He's actually gonna be what we think Brenton Strange is gonna be.
Imagine.
Yeah. It's like when I was drafting Luke Musgrave last offseason all over the place, and then Tucker Kraft was the right Packer to pick. So. All right, rank these guys. Gibbs, CD, JJ, Saquon. I know we're splitting hairs. Yeah, I mean, we're definitely splitting hairs. And also depends, like, do you want to start your draft with a running back or wide receiver? I will say I probably still have Saquon here as a top player. And then I know for a lot of people they're moving CD in front of JJ, and like I don't hate that. And I really like CD. I still have JJ as my wide receiver 2, then CD is my wide receiver 3. And then it's Gibbs. I do think Gibbs is at the end of the tier for the first tier running backs because I mean, the new offensive coordinator is already coming out and saying like he wants to use Monty all season. Like he wants a 1-2 punch, which like is not bad for Gibbs. Gibbs was fine last year. He just had like those really big weeks when
Monty was out. Yeah.
When Monty was out, yeah. So, I think Gibbs will be 100% fine, and I still think more volume is in the air for Gibbs. But I've said it all off season long, as Monty's my RB1 tonight by coincidence, but I just think he's still going to have a big role on that team. So, I don't think it is a negative for Gibbs, but I think it is impactful. So yeah, I go Saquon's, JJ, CD, Gibbs. If you want to flop CD and JJ, I'm fine with it, especially if the hamstring injury concerns you. But I think JJ will be fine week 1. GT Sport, what's going on, man? Have you done a mock going RB with your first 4 picks? An underdog, yes. And sleeper, I don't think so. I may have at one point, but starting to put together some different draft strategy videos. I know I did them earlier in the offseason in like June or July. I don't remember. I guess it was July, beginning of July. But yeah, maybe I'll do one with 4 RBs. I don't mind doing it. The thing with underdog drafts is I'll do any strategy and see what happens. J Hang 20. Are your rankings for full PPR and half PPR different when drafting? Generally, I just go off of a full PPR ranking. It doesn't change too drastically for me. I just haven't sat down and done a half PPR ranking this year. I probably need to. I mean, it does impact things, especially if we're implementing both positions. Like running backs are going to have more value in half PPR. But for full for half PPR, wide receivers are different because touchdown upside, touchdown potential is baked in. Mike Evans going to be, potentially more valuable in the tier he goes, maybe even ahead of a player that I really like a Garrett Wilson in full PPR. So I haven't sat down and done any half PPR rankings, but generally speaking, they would be different. But I think also generally speaking, worst case scenario, you can still use like a full PPR consensus when drafting and half PPR. As long as you're focused on the running back position. Henry over Genty. Yeah, I still have Henry over Genty. And
I think so. Rookies starting to scare me. Like, just, I don't know. It's kind of scaring me. High rookies scare me now.
Yeah, I agree. I'm fine with Genty, like, generally where he goes. I am happy that he's kind of like, I don't know, tonight goes at the 1-9. I have Henry and A-Chain in front of Genty. Genty C-Mac ends that first tier here for me. And it's really, I'm fine with either pick if you like Genty or C-Mac more. It just depends on the risk associated with the two, like what scares you. And I'm not, once again, Genty's a player right now I'm not over or underreacting about. I'm not going to freak out about the preseason stat line. And quite frankly, it's not like Omarion Hampton was lighting it up in preseason either. And he had a chance to make a big play and score a potential touchdown, but he rushed twice for 9 yards with 0 targets, 0 catches. And then he didn't play tonight because the Chargers are now horrified of any more injuries. But in the Hall of Fame game, I mean, it's not like a stat line that should move a player into the beginning of the third, sometimes into the second round. You know what I mean? So I will say, I think Hampton is starting to get a little bit uncomfortable for me. Like I am basically just Xing them out of draft boards. It depends. And I'm going to be in enough drafts that I'm going to have shares of everybody essentially. But like, I don't know. He goes at the 3-1 tonight. It's just a very steep price. And I'm not drafting him ahead of Kyron, Jacobs, Chase Brown, or Bucky or JT still. I just, if Rashawn Slater wasn't hurt, maybe I feel differently here. But, Hampton overtaking the fourth round running backs, I'm okay with that. But a lot of those guys were going I don't know, Walker's falling a bit right now. I feel like Kamara's falling a bit. When he was overtaking those guys and then pushing Cook and Hall, I'm okay with that. But now he's not just pushing those guys and overtaking their ADP. He's really moving up in ADP and taking over Higgins and Garrett Wilson, JSN. And I get it, but it's just starting to get a little bit uncomfortable for me. And I know it's a run-first offense. I guess you could argue it's going to be more difficult for them to throw now, but it's also going to be more difficult for them to pass now. And I think Hampton's going to be fine. There were games last year that Rashawn Slater missed, and Dobbins was fine. But ultimately, I don't know. It's a little steep. I have no idea who I want to pick with this selection.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not great over here.
I need to go receiver, but Hollywood Brown's hurt. Cedric Tillman's hurt. Go with a Alec Ale Manor, some Torrey Horton. Dontayvion Wicks is hurt. All my late round guys. I guess I'll handcuff Chris Godwin and go Jalen McMillan. I don't know. I don't want to take 2 tight ends. Ferguson and Pitts are okay here, I guess. Could have gone Dak Prescott. I don't know. We'll go Jalen McMillan. He's fine there. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Harvey or Johnson at value? Probably Johnson because he's being drafted later. And I think, once again, Dobbins is the cheaper piece of that backfield. So,
Why are we
I mean,
why are we drafting the sixth running back six on the depth chart?
yeah, the depth chart is like Dobbins, McLaughlin, Estime, Michael Burton, Tyler Batty, Blake Watson, RJ Harvey, according to Sean Payton. So,
Sean Payton is like the worst person. He's the worst.
yeah. Uh, I like Harvey just fine. I do. And we've talked about this tier running backs a lot, even before Henderson broke out, so to speak. But Henderson, Harvey, Caleb Johnson, it's been and before Quinton Junkins had his issues, like those rookie running backs where they were going, it's been a discussion all off season long. But I mean, Caleb Johnson had 8 carries for 20 yards against the Jags. Harvey had 7 for 25s. He had 2 targets for 4 yards ultimately. So, like, I mean, neither of these guys were like uber productive. Caleb Johnson had a catch off of 2 targets for 6 yards. So it's obvious they're trying to get these guys involved and that they're going to be part of the team. But like, still have Dobbins. We still have Jalen Warren. What we do know is that the Steelers under Arthur Smith are a run first team. I'm still of the belief that the Broncos, are a pass first team. So I'll go Caleb Johnson. Okay, let's do some quick team reviews. And then we are going to hop into a second mock draft. So stay posted. We'll drop that link in the chat in a few moments. Jay Fitno at the 111 tonight. And by the way, Pete, just realized I probably need to email you the
I can get on the YouTube. Like you're gonna post in the YouTube chat. I can pull up the YouTube.
Oh, well, I'm just going to send it to you so you have it ahead of time.
Okay.
So it's in your email if that works.
Yeah,
Okay. Sorry. So make sure Pete doesn't get kicked from the next draft. All right. Late round QB, late round tight end, Purdy, Loveland, Ferguson. Ferguson, a really good value tonight. Purdy's still fine. There's a late round quarterback. Loveland, fine combination. So you're good there. H.N. Cook, Warren, Scadaboo, Najee, Puka, Sutton, Ridley, Adunze, Igbukba. I mean, pretty good value throughout this draft. I mean, Najee's another guy that, like, yeah, at some point he becomes a value, but he's like the scariest player to draft right now. But this is positive. He has a chance to be ready for week 1. Who knows? That's such an ominous situation. I don't know, but whatever. Scadaboo's also banged up. We'll see. All right, so Purdy, one of the 2 tight ends, H.N. Cook, Puka, Sutton, Ridley, Rome Odunze. I mean, the base of this team is very good. So some of that risk associated with the bench players probably doesn't hurt you. Jalen Warren's another player who I think is becoming a bit of a value, potentially, for a few games. Caleb Johnson's backfield to take. All right, Foster's the 1-9. We got Lamar and Kelsey. Kelsey, good value, the 9. Genty JT Walker, that's nice. Jadon Blue, Rico Dowdle. Look at that little Washington Commander action in JCM.
Yeah, they didn't lose 40-10 this past weekend or whatever.
48-18 to be exact. Yeah. Flowers, Rice, Matthew Golden, Josh Downs, and another rookie here in Kyle Williams. So starting Lamar and Kelsey, Genty, JT. I'm going to go ahead and say you're flexing Walker, starting Flowers, starting Golden, flexing Downs, but you will have Rice coming back into action. I don't know. Maybe he isn't suspended before then. So Rice, I think, was a good value pick for you, honestly, the way you built this team. So once again, you're taking a lot of dart throws on the bench, but the core lineup looks good. And those first 3 running backs, absolute studs. Prey drafted tonight. We've got Baker, Moneymaker, Andrew Goat, Tua, Sam Laporta in the 6, Henry, Kamara, Quinton Junkins, Rashad White. I like it. Get some risk associated running backs there on the bench. Amon-Ra, Evans, Travis Hunter, Ayuk, Kirk, Bateman. I mean, this is one of those teams that's kind of like an upside swing team. I mean, this could work out. Junkins is another guy that I think is starting to become somewhat of a value, but like I don't know. We're gonna have to wait and see. Like Ayuk, you can just throw on the pup on your IR and then pick up another player. So still not drafting a lot of those 2 players, but and I still believe in Rashad White. I always will. So Baker, Laporta, Henry, Kamara, St. Brown, Evans, flexing Hunter, flexing Christian Kirk, or I think Kirk and Bateman are good flex options. So I think he kind of made up for the risk picks, 3 picks in a row there. So could work. Ray Gamer, don't feel good about it. What we do, man? Burrow in the 5th, fine. Andrews in the 9th, fine. Johnny Smith, another player I really feel like is becoming a good value in drafts. Like people just aren't drafting him, and like I don't know.
I know. I'm going the other way. I was like way off the Steelers, and I'm like kind of going. I'm like kind of in on the Steelers now, listening to Rodgers and Mike Tomlin talk. Like I think their offense is going to be pretty good.
Yeah, I've been drafting a lot of Johnny Smith as of late. Underdog, he's falling a lot. He's like an ADP of like 178, and especially if I punt tight end, I'm like, I mean, especially if you go like you look at Ray Gamer's team, he could have gone Jonnu in the 12th and then still got Jake Ferguson. Like that's solid at tight. I mean, he had Mark Andrews. I mean, even then, like he got Mark Andrews and Jonnu Smith. It's like there's just a point where Jonnu is still a good value. I like them a lot more on the Dolphins, but like he's just really falling in drafts. All right, Gibbs, Kyron, Chuba, Trey Benson, a good little running back room there. Tyreek, Meyer, Shakir, Jennings, Trey Harris, Luther Burden. I don't know, man. I mean, this is an okay team. You got Burrow, Andrews, Gibbs, Kyron, Hill, Myers. Then your 2 flexes. I mean, Chuba, Shakir, Jennings, even Johnny Smith. I mean, like you have options, and you have 3 or 2 rookies and Trey Benson on the bench. You know, Jennings obviously like big question mark right now, but another guy who like I think Jennings is just becoming a good value. Like there are some of these circumstances here in August that are just really pushing back certain players, and we gotta, don't get me wrong, some of these guys aren't going to work out or have issues earlier on in the season, but some of these guys are going to be fine. So is Jennings really hurt, or is he just not wanting to practice till he gets a contract, or doesn't, whatever. So yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of missed upside at your wide receiver position here, but you took a QB in the 5th, a tight end in the 9th. I think Chuba's fine in the 4th. I probably, like I said earlier in the draft, I think I have Garrett Wilson, Jason Higgins in front of Tyreek Hill right now, but he's still okay. Not as bad as you think. Do you think Junkins will be good to go sometime during the season? Honestly, just generally speaking, in the way that like legal issues are dealt with in the NFL, probably. Matt at the 1-6. Late round QBs, we got Goff and J-Lo. It'll work. We got Tucker Kraft at tight end. That'll work. Bucky Pacheco, Tyrone Tracy, Jordan Mason. So like a true hero RB team here. You're loaded up at receiver. JJ, MH, Devonta, Jamison Williams, Darnell Mooney, another guy. I mean, hurt, no timetable. We'll see. Adam Thielen. So you're starting Goff, Kraft, Bucky, then the hot hand at RB2. Then you know exactly what to put in at wide receiver and flex. JJ, MH, Devonta, JMO. Solid build for a hero running back team. Very solid. All right, your boy was at pick 112 tonight. Josh Allen early on, Dalton Kincaid later on. That's fine. I think I'd probably take another swing at tight end over Jerome Ford, even if it's like Hunter Henry or Zach Ertz. I still like Kincaid, but I do kind of find myself Kincaid's a part of a 2 tight end set for me, but it's fine. You can still fight on the waivers, right? B. Tom Adams. Adams, another guy falling a bit right now, as is Puka Nakua at times, but looks like Stafford's fine. Waddle, who's hurt but didn't really fall tonight. Cup, Keon Coleman, Pittman. C-Mac, Harvey, Etienne, Isaac Garando, smart pick there, and then Jerome Ford. So we're starting Josh Allen, Kincaid, C-Mac, Harvey, B. Tom Adams. Then I will say for me on this team, I think the flex is a little bit up in the air. Pittman could be a really good value here. It could just be Waddle and Cup. I think ETN, I'm kind of leaning towards, I think ETN is going to be startable early in the season at the worst. So, yeah, I'm not super high on Coleman. I think Garando was a smart pick for this team. I think the flex is a little bit up in the air, but I'm not saying it's not doable. You got a lot of upside with those first 5 picks, though, for sure. Pete can't beat our speed. Get in the next mock. That does scare me. We'll make sure Pete's there. I'll be putting up the next mock draft link in a moment. Let me see. As a matter of fact, I think this is the last team review. And then I'll look at mine and Pete's team. So stay posted, but there's the link in the chat for the next mock. All right. Not starting just yet. Vincent at the 1-1. Double quarterback. We got JD5 in the 5th and Bo Nix in the 8th. Trey McBride's at tight end. Jamar Chase, Debo Higgins, Rondell Robinson, Pat Bryant. Running backs are Hampton, Connor, Brian Robinson, Dylan Sampson, Tyler Algier. So it's an interesting team because it's tough to go early quarterback and early tight end. And then you also took another quarterback in the 8th. So let's see here. You're starting JD5, McBride, Hampton, Connor, Chase, Debo. I think you got to flex Brian Robinson. And then that next flex is just up in the air. Dylan Sampson could be a really good value here, potentially, but everyone else is kind of a question mark. They all have an argument for sure. But I think if I take JD5 in the 5th, I'm not taking Bo Nix in the 8th. I think you got to go back-to-back wide receiver right there, even if it's a guy like Shaheed or Mooney, even Jaden Reed. I mean, you just need the potential for the help in the flex because you have less skill position players because you went early QB and tight end already. So, and like, I don't want to rely on Debo as my wide receiver 2 right now. I'd rather take like a guy like Diggs or even Shakir, like where the volume is just secured, unless you really think Terry McLaurin is not going to be back with Washington. But even then, I like Debo less if Terry's not on the team. So, couple adjustments. It's hard to go early QB and early tight end. Landon Dickerson was carted off tonight. I feel like we're having a player like carted off like every game.
He was actually carted off at practice tonight.
Oh, public practice. Okay. Yeah, that is a big loss for the Eagles. That's
tanks my Saquon stock.
That's not good. Couldn't put any weight on his leg. We'll have to pay attention to that one. Elite Division Sports, what's going on? All right, let me get Reverse's team. And we'll look at mine and Pete's team. The link for the next mock is in the chat. We'll get that filled as we continue chatting here. No pun intended. All right. CJ Stroud, I think a fine value in the 12th. David Njoku, a good value in the 10th. Brees Hall, DeAndre Swift, Joe Mixon, Javonte, Nick Chubb. Kind of low on Nick Chubb right now, but it's your last running back. I don't care. I'm a little higher on like Rico Dowdle or Braylon Allen. But that's fine. I think outside of that, though, you got really good value at running back in this draft. Nico, AJ Brown, Metcalf, Pickens, Pearsall, Tillman. Yeah, got value all over the place here. So starting Stroud and Joku, Hall, Swift, Nico, AJ Brown, Metcalf, Pickens. Very solid squad. Mixon on the bench, Pearsall. Like I get it, guys, but I think Javante's okay as a late round running back. Like, is there RB4 or 5? So yeah, this is a fine team. All right, let's roast Pete's team. What about that stat line from Mahomes this weekend?
That was the best stat line you'll ever see in a game. I said it last night. Just amazing.
Yeah. How about that? Mahomes, Tyler Warren, I like it. Barkley, Jacobs, Ramondre, Spears, Tootin. I honestly think these back end running backs are all good values still. Higgins, DJ Moore, Worthy, Judy, Addison, nice stretch there. And my guy, Donta Thornton. So starting Mahomes, Warren, Barkley, Jacobs, Higgins, Moore, Worthy, Judy. Addison obviously can work in here as well. Find enough bench running backs, Donta Thornton, you're kind of swing at the end there. So yeah, this is a team. If you went, we talked about earlier in the draft, like sometimes Higgins worries me as a wide receiver 1. This team's fine, in my opinion. A lot of upside at wide receiver. Double hero RB build.
I think Addison being there as my 5th wide receiver really helped this team out a lot.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, solid team. That's kind of what you have to do sometimes in a double hero RB approach, is just take those dart throws at running back at the end of the draft. You're relying on Barkley and Jacobs, and you should be able to. All right, what did I do? Fields in the 10th, Ingram in the 9th. I did the opposite. I went like heavy wide receiver, basically 0 RB. Monty, Pollard, Dobbins, Bigsby, Allen. Got a different Jaguars running back than you. Not a lot of upside here at running back, but the opposite here. I have upside at wide receiver. Neighbors, London, JSN, McLaurin. And really with those first 4 rounds, like the best value was just at wide receiver. Now you could go Nico or Amon-Ra or Puka over Neighbors. That's fine. But like London, just too tough for me to pass there. JSN, too tough for me to pass. McLaurin, once again, too tough for me to pass. So that's really why this draft went how it did. Godwin in the 7th, semi-handcuffed with McMillan, maybe. I know, elephant in the room is Emeka Bukba. But yeah, I like this team. Fields, Ingram, Monty, Pollard, Neighbors, Lundo, JSN, McLaurin would be the starting lineup. Pretty solid. All right. Okay. Let's switch gears. We have 4 spots in the mock draft coming up. Any fantasy questions, fantasy reactions, preseason reactions you guys have, get them in the live chat. And we're going to go ahead and switch to mock draft number 2. So you guys get on in here. Thank you to everyone who was part of the first mock draft. I will send out a final warning everywhere that I can before we start, but we'll basically start once this fills 4 spots. Get on in here. If you guys are in the chat, it's your best opportunity, because I'm going to put this on Discord as well, and I'm sure 1 or 2 people will hop in as well from Discord. All right, so we'll just hang out for a minute while this fills. Shouldn't take too much longer. All right. Let's see. Okay. Let's take a look at. Yeah. My bad.
He wants it. He's been begging. He's chirping him. He's like, "God, I need to see what your input is."
Right. A lot of things happening.
Yes, I told him. I was like, it was the worst possible time for you to hop in as rating teams.
We're good. I'm excited. All right, 8-teamer. So you're going to be stacked no matter what. Looking for some positional advantage. But let's see. Hurts, Gibbs, King Henry. AJ Brown, a little stack. Tyreek Hill, Kittle, CMC, Achane, Kamara, MH, Pickens on the bench. I mean, this is pretty solid. I still think Hurts is a huge positional advantage. I'm a Jalen Hurts truther always. And I think Kittle is undoubtedly a positional advantage. And that is one thing when it comes to 8-team leagues that I always look for at quarterback and tight end is obviously you still want to be able to land a top 5 guy at both of those positions because the difference between a lot of teams at quarterback and tight end is going to be few and far between when we start to get outside the top 5. And I think that Hurts and Kittle absolutely give you that chance, right? You're loaded at running back, which I don't hate. I'm as high on AJ Brown as he possibly can be, so I'm fine with him as your wide receiver 1. I think Hill is fine. Like you have the least advantage at wide receiver on this team. Sorry, let me send out the final warnings, and then we'll
He
start.
uh he traded a bunch of his depth to get Tyreek and Kamara and CMC, which I think
Well,
would work. He got rid of James Cook, Joe Mixon, Waddle, and Debo for CMC and Tyreek, which
that feels like a win.
yeah, and then he gave up Terry, Monty, and Cup for Kamara, which I don't. I think he could have used Terry on this team, and he doesn't need
Yeah,
Kamara.
I would probably prefer keeping Terry after doing the first trade. Um, but Kamara's I don't know if Kamara's you got Gibbs, Henry, CMC, and A Chain. You have 4 first round running backs.
Yeah, which
So
is
I do,
good. Like you're in an 8-teamer. You need something like that.
yeah. I
No
do think
worses.
Terry would have been more crucial than Kamara, but it's just hard to dispute a team like this, you know. Um, yeah,
But
I mean, team's super solid.
you could do a lot worse in an 8-man draft. Trust me.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I've done plenty. I used to always do mock draft videos for 8-team leagues. I haven't done as many this year or the past year, but yeah, I mean, 8 teams sounds really easy, especially if you've been drafting like in a 12-team format. But it's hard. And it's hard also because you have to make the right calls like every week, you know, because each team is so good. It's a different kind of challenge.
Okay,
But
I do have to hit you with this rule. Did you see this? This was kind of going around this weekend. The meme rule. So like everyone's pulling like crazy rules to put in now because everyone's just bored with fantasy at this point. And it was the hot tub time machine rule where after the regular season, every team gets one do-over so you can switch one bench player with a starter for one week. But everyone does it anonymously, so nobody knows who did it for what game, and then you take the results, and that's your playoff. Those are your finished season results. I was like, that's so much extra strategy that I can't even begin to fathom.
that's too much. It's too much. How are people bored with fantasy? It's you know, it's supposed to be what it is.
I think it's
Get over it.
we got sports gambling that like there's just we need more people just need more action. Okay, they need more excitement in their life. I tell them to go
Yeah.
play a double like QB Superflex Guillotine League or something. That's plenty exciting for you out there.
Yeah, I mean, there's best ball, there's auction leagues, there's super flex, there's double quarterbacks. I mean, guillotine, vampire leagues, DFS, dynasty. If you're not in a dynasty league, there's different forms of dynasty. Like, yeah, or you can just bet on anytime touchdown scores. You know, that'll either ruin your life or make your life better. You know,
Ruin, usually ruin.
yeah. So I mean, that is, yeah, that's a bit much for me. Now, there's other things you can do, like like top score, like keep track of top
Long as
scores and
yeah,
have a payout for that. Like, um,
I
you can
like
do,
quarterback tackles are worth 50 points. So
yeah.
if your quarterback some of those bottom tier quarterbacks aren't so bad anymore right now. You know,
I do
Justin Fields
say,
feels great. Justin Fields might be QB1 in that league.
I do say every year, like I want to do like a $50 buy-in league where it's like 3 tight ends, like 1 wide receiver, like 2 quarterbacks, defense kick, just like, something ridiculous, like 1.5 points per reception, tight end premium, like, would just make no sense. But no one ever wants to do it with me, so
I think you have to like test drive that first. You have to like find a committed group, maybe like not make it a buy-in the first year and see how it plays out with everybody. And then you could be
that's
like, all
fair.
right, let's roll it.
Yeah, just implement like every rule, like it's a keeper league, like,
Weekly, how about
auction.
weekly redrafts? Weekly redrafted.
Well, that's not really. It's close to what best ball is, but
Yeah.
not really.
But like, but you can only redraft your bench or something. Like if you didn't start a guy in a week, you lose your bench into the week. Just let's go crazy here. I'm all for it.
I think the first 2 years of the channel, we did a mid-season draft. It's like too much for me to do now, but I do like doing a mid-season draft. I think that's fun. The league number 1 that's still in place to this day for the catch community started as a mid-season draft. So there's fun fact about the channel. In a 2-flex league like this, do you like solid flexes or QB tight ends leaning towards flex? Yeah, I would say leaning towards the flex position. Um, and if it's full PPR, generally I'm leaning towards wide receivers in the flex, but obviously past year or so, I mean, uh, the running backs are viable options in the flex as well. All right, Elite Division Sports in the mock with us tonight. Let's go with the 1-3, starting off heavy running back. J Fitness goal in this box is snipe catch a few times. Yeah. I didn't think B Tom would make it back to me, but she did successfully do that. I am kind of struggling in that area, like Neighbors, Amon Ra, Nico. I'm like, I'm gonna be in enough leagues. I've done enough drafts on Underdog. I'm doing a ton of drafts with the Fantasy Endgame community on their new fantasy football app this year, and I'm gonna have exposure to everybody. But I'm like, I struggle with that tier of wide receivers right there, and even the running backs. I just like everybody so much that I just got to make sure I switch it up. Let's talk about the mock that's going on. Yeah, we usually kind of let it play out a bit so we don't, you know, end up determining anything too much. But so far, I mean, yeah, we have 2 teams coming out the gate with a triple running back strat and a little bit of a bumped up ADP for Alvin Kamara ahead of Hampton and Hall, amongst others. And then Kenneth Walker taken with confidence at the 3-8 as well in this draft. A little bump in ADP for him. Pushing back a couple wide receivers in this draft. I'll take Garrett Wilson happily here at the 310. All right, I got one for the fun league, J Fitness. One knotted down here. Yeah, other than that,
This is the worst draft. I go double wide receiver to start. This is the worst.
This is already this is an aggressive draft at the running back position. That's for sure. That's why he's got to be prepared. You never know what's going to happen. I mean, I could realistically see Walker, Cook, and Kamara all going in the 3rd round. I don't think it's that crazy. The order may be a little bit out of play here, but yeah, I mean, it's tough because now you're going to constantly feel throughout this draft that you're reaching at the running back position no matter what you do. So I'll take Terry McLaurin. And I'll keep saying, like, when Terry McLaurin's here in the 4th round, I'm going to take him every time. I just think he's going to be back with Washington. So I have a tough time passing on him early 4th round, no matter what. He was going kind of mid 3rd round, into the 3rd round at worst before all the, hold out and trade speculation started to go on. So I think he could be one of these players come week 1, depending on when you drafted, could end up being a really, really good draft day value. But outside of that, I mean, the draft is pretty straightforward here. Nothing too crazy, but yeah, starting off aggressive at running back.
Oh my
So
God, Vince is killing me right now. Quad running backs. I was like totally prepared to take James Conner right there. I was like, no
yeah,
way he's going quad running backs.
that's pretty
Uh,
early for Connor too.
yeah, I guess. I mean, oh my God, we're gonna have to go Monty.
Yeah, we're going.
This feels gross.
We're reaching tonight. I'm going hero running back with C-Mac and just gonna see what happens. Kamara finished top 10 in full PPR. I mean, I have been a Kamara fan all off season long. I mean, he was RB9 last year. The bigger question is, what is his offense going to be? What is the quarterback situation going to look like? I guess we saw a flash from Tyler Shuck tonight. So, I mean, it's not like they played with great quarterback play last year, but at the same time, we do have to remember that they did until, Derek Carr was hurt. I mean, the Saints were the best offense in the league for the September last year.
The first 2 weeks, they cooked.
They were first four. I guess the Philly game was low scoring, but Kamara was okay in that game. But they were good the first 4 weeks. But yeah, the first 2 weeks, they were literally, if I'm not mistaken, the best offense in the league. And I mean, they played Carolina and Dallas. So two of the worst run defenses in the league. And we'll see. But I like Alvin Kamara. I still am probably taking Breece Hall, Hampton, Cook, Walker in front of him. But hey, I mean, if you're drafting there at the 3-3 and Kamara's your guy, you're not going to get him back at the 4-10 more than likely. So hey, go ahead and get your guy. I'm never going to knock you for it. The thing about Kamara is they are so bad he's not going to play in the fantasy playoffs, even if he's slightly injured. I mean, isn't that that's what happened last year. He didn't play week 16 or 17. So I remember what the injury was last year. But yeah, I mean, Kamara was solid last year. He only had one poor game, and that was week 7 against Denver. Outside of that, he had double digits every game. Then he didn't play week 16 or 17. And like the whole Saints offense was literally injured. Taylor, I assure you, no Saints players finishing top 10 anything other than maybe interceptions. See. Yeah, I like Kamara a lot, but I think he's being pretty appropriately drafted where he generally goes. So we'll see. We'll see. Age is also a factor here. He is age 30. But I once again, I like Kamara all off season long. We'll see what happens. But yeah, we're pushing for. Now we're seeing a little bit more action at other positions. It'll be interesting to see like what kind of value we get at other positions in this draft, as running back was butchered early on. And I think there's already been some good value elsewhere. All right, let's see. Any other preseason reactions that I really want? I thought the Panthers looked pretty good. I think it's tough to get a read on that game because it's preseason and it was the Browns and the Panthers. And we got a good sample size out of Shedeur Sanders as well, but still don't think he's ready to be the QB1. And they still don't really know what they like. The reports right now are that the Browns are going to go into the season with 4 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So
who's the odd man out? Who are they going to try and sneak on the practice squad?
Yeah. I mean, Dylan Gabriel's still banged up.
Yeah, maybe maybe you stick one on the IR and then face that road when you have to.
Because what's the rule now with the backup quarterback, emergency quarterback thing? I don't even.
I mean, you have to roster him, but he doesn't count towards being dressed on game day.
Okay, yeah.
So it's gonna be Flacco and Pickett, and that's the only thing I'm 100% sure of, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna be Sanders. And then do you
Yeah.
just like try and get Snoop Huntley on the practice squad and keep Gabriel, or put one of them on the
Yeah.
IR?
I thought Sanders looked really good, but there's still some fundamental stuff that wasn't great. It was like he was like the exact Shadur Sanders we saw in college. You know,
It
a
was
lot of the issues
it was a
from
major
college were there.
overreaction for a preseason game. Like he played out. He was
Yeah.
like mediocre. It was fine. It was a
Yeah.
fine performance for a rookie quarterback. But yeah,
Yeah.
he's got to stop running backwards. He just runs backwards too much. Just stay in the
Yeah.
pocket and let it fly, baby.
Holds on to the ball a little bit too long. Stays definitely the running backwards is an issue. Like you know, you do that against first stringers.
You do
It's
that
probably not
against,
going to
you're
work
doing
out.
it against the Panthers. Do it against the Eagles and see how that plays out. Or the Steel. Do it against the Steelers and see how you feel after that.
But very accurate, you know, and like that second touchdown throw was like, I think it was more impressive than the first touchdown throw. Some good, like, you know, ability to stretch plays as well, which I guess is like in between what he did in terms of running backwards too much. But good pocket movement, I thought overall. I mean, it's just one of those players that everything's going to be like overly analyzed. You know what I mean? So we'll see. But I still don't think he's the QB1 there. And once again, it's tough to say in a preseason game between the Browns and Panthers, but I did think the Panthers starting offense looked how we would want it to look if we're hopeful on any Panthers players going into the year. T Mac, undoubtedly the wide receiver one there. And I do think he will be very good from a full PPR standpoint. And I'm pumped up about Jalen Coker, man. So see what happens. I think for me, Xavier Legette is starting to be the odd man out in that lineup, unless Thielen gets hurt. I think they're going to roll with old man Thielen as long as they can. Let's see. All the Giants quarterbacks look good. Like, I don't know. That's another quarterback room where I'm like, they probably need to cut someone. Is it just going to be Tommy DeVito? But like, I mean, DeVito played just as well as anyone, and he has a lot of regular season experience, you know. But like all four quarterbacks came out and played really well. Once again, preseason game, hard to say.
You can't get rid of Jameis for the vibes.
I
He's
know,
too.
yeah.
Maybe you ask him to retire and you put him like you put him on the coaching staff and he's your motivational speaker or something.
Yeah, it's I think they're gonna want to go into the season with three quarterbacks, you know, and
I bet you they could get DeVito on the practice squad. Someone's probably not going to
yeah, I
take
could see
him.
that too. Yeah. I do think regular season, he's probably the worst quarterback. Like I think Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, Jackson Dart is what they probably want.
Yeah, because Russell's going to start. I'm not going to
Yeah.
start Jackson Dart at all.
No,
Unless my job is really under threat
Yeah.
here. I'm not going to start Dart. I'm very happy with what we're seeing out of Dart.
Yeah. So that is interesting. But I mean, everything is fine there in terms of Malik Neighbors, which is all we really care about. I like Tyrone Tracy too, but you know, we'll see how things shake out there. We talked a little bit about the Vikings, but I thought McCarthy, the limited sample size we got, was fine. Would have liked to see them finish off that drive, though.
Yeah, a couple of bad throws back to back on that end of that drive.
Jordan Mason is getting the expected volume.
I'm telling you, Jordan Mason's going to be the touchdown guy in that offense, I think. They're going to run the ball a lot in short yardage, unlike last year when they couldn't.
I am feeling higher on Jordan Mason than I have been in the past couple of weeks. I haven't been necessarily low, but especially with some other injuries of running backs close to that range, like a Rashad White or a Tajay Spears, excuse me, you know. But I'm also taking a lot of Dobbins in that range. But yeah, I'm feeling okay about Jordan Mason. Shout out to Sam Howell. Got some action in.
Thank God. He like the word around camp was he was like he couldn't throw a football. Like,
Yeah.
I'm glad at least it seems like we have a backup quarterback.
Hey, if anyone can fix Sam Howell, it's
it's,
gonna be
it's,
Kevin O'Connell.
it's Kevin KOC, baby, the
Yeah.
quarterback whisperer.
I mean, he fixed Sam Darnold. So shout out to my boy, Sam Howell. That's all I gotta say. Yeah, Skylar Thompson lit it up for the Steelers. I think, that was kind of a question mark, like who's gonna be the QB2 behind Rodgers. And once again, they could go in the season with Thompson and Mason Rudolph. But was it Will Davis? Is that his name? The rookie who's hurt? It's not Will Davis. Why can't I remember the name of the
Sorry,
Will
I'm just
Howard?
reading I'm over here. My chat's bullying me, so I have to yell at
You're
them.
good. You're good. Will Howard? Yeah, I mean he's hurt, so
He's got a broken hand, right? I think.
yeah. I don't know exactly how that one's going to shake out, but that's kind of been the question: is like who's going to be ready as a QB2, and might just be Skylar Thompson. And then also we want to get some answers on the Steelers wide receivers, but I don't think we really got any answers. So I'll just have to leave it at that. All right, let me make this draft pick. 0 wide receivers through 5 rounds. I have Vincent going ridiculously heavy at running back. Brown should start Shadur. I mean, not right away. He's not ready to start yet. But it's a very, very promising start. Don't get me wrong. I guess I'm going Jordan Mason here.
Nice. I got B-Rob. Hooray.
Yeah, we swapped
We swapped.
swap teams there. Any tips for a 6-man league? Go for positional upside and go for upside in general. Get a quarterback early on, get a top 3 guy, get a Josh Allen, a Lamar Jackson, Hurts or JD5, get Bowers, McBride, Kittle, and then hammer out as much upside at running back and receiver as you can. 6-man league it's just tough. You got to play the right guys every week. You got to have an immense amount of upside on a weekly basis. You got to try and expose soft matchups. It's tough. You should come out of your draft absolutely stacked, but I will kind of just be looking to alternate running back, wide receiver throughout the draft. And don't be afraid to go out and get quarterback and tight end early for the positional upside. What a steal on Laporta. Yeah, he fell a bit tonight, all the way to the 7-8. Not surprised to see tight end push back a little bit here. Kelsey got at the 5-3 to your squad. Is Diggs going to play week 1? Yes. He is fully healthy.
Allegedly.
Yeah, he's listed as a knee injury, whatever. I'm not overly concerned about it.
I'll say worst case he plays by week 3. Like worst case,
yeah.
he plays by week 3.
And I think for me, the way I look at it, it's a veteran thing. He doesn't need to play in the preseason. We'll find out. But yeah, I mean, you get him at the 7-3 there. I think it's a good value. I'm not taking Kelsey before Laporta, I can tell you that much. Andrea says, I don't like my draft so far. Doing kind of like a bounce back strategy, as I like to call it. Receiver, running back, receiver, running back, receiver, running back, receiver, running back. And I think your team's fine so far, Andrea. I mean, it's not like anything's, blown out of the water here, but it's a good, even peel team across the board. Early thoughts on my starting lineup. Hurts, Kelsey, Waddle, Diggs, Barkley, Kyron, Kamara. I mean, all your upside presumably is coming from everything other than wide receiver, which scares me a little bit. I mean, really, your draft is contingent on how wide receiver plays out the rest of the draft, but there's nothing really left at wide receiver.
There's not, and I'm very sad.
Yeah. There's some names. This is a tough draft.
Bro, oh my god, if Debo could have fell to me there, I would have been very happy.
I like Jennings. Jennings is like the last name here. I'm kind of like, okay, I'm good at that. But like,
I can live with. I have two. I mean, I have two top receivers, so I can live with Jennings as receiver 5.
yeah, you're fine over there. You're fine. But
I hate this. Everybody hates their. I like this. Everyone is like, "What are we
yeah.
doing right now?" Everyone's
I love my
having to
draft.
think.
Yeah.
Everyone's having to think real hard on what we're doing right now. This is
Which is
very
kind of
different. Yeah.
it's good practice because like you need to be put in these positions where like you get into a home league and that one guy just starts doing something because he's like, oh, I'm going to do this and no one's going to expect it. That stuff happens, and then everything's kind of thrown off. You know, we kind of have. Yeah, it's not like I'm calling anyone out here, but we have two people drafting just a little bit differently, and on top of that, drafts are getting harder. This is something I've been talking about all weekend long. Like people are locked in, ADP shifting a little bit. We just got through week 1 of preseason. People are overreacting. People are underreacting. ADP is changing. Players are moving around. And people, once again, are just locked in general to fantasy football, especially in comparison to just where we were a month ago. So drafts are more difficult right now. And it's the time to really start getting prepared. And once again, I've already done a few real drafts, and I'm not talking about best ball formats on Underdog. I've drafted real teams with Fantasy Endgame. They've created their own entire app, just like Sleeper or ESPN or Yahoo, and they're already hosting real leagues. And yeah, I mean, real drafts right now, they are not easy. And the ADP is always a little bit perplexing, for lack of a better word, when you're actually drafting. So I would just definitely start to try and get in some uncomfortable positions. And at the end of the day,
the quarterbacks are going to be the biggest ones, especially if
yeah,
you play in like a home league and stuff. That's where you're going to have to completely change your approach because
yeah.
I mean, I don't think Baker, Mahomes, Knicks are getting past like the 7th round. I don't think that. I think they're all going to be gone by the 7th round in a home league of 12 teams.
The interesting thing in the real drafts I've done so far is that quarterback. And I do agree with what you're saying, but in the drafts I've been in, quarterbacks falling. I did one tonight where I was like, you know what? I'm going to take Jalen Hurts early because it was a 3 wide receiver set draft. So starting 3 wide receivers and a flex. So quarterbacks were pushed back a little bit. I got Hurts in like the 6th round, and I was like, okay. But then after that, like quarterbacks kept falling and falling. Like it was ridiculous. And I took Justin Fields as well in that draft. So yeah, I mean, I do agree with you. This time of year too is when quarterbacks start to get more seriously drafted, right? And in a lot of home leagues, it is always one of the more difficult positions to predict and to prepare for. Even in the drafts we ran last year with the community, like by the time we were actually drafting, like the consensus we saw on quarterbacks was completely different than what we saw in mock drafts. So it's always a difficult position to prepare for. And tight end can be really difficult too. That weird thing always happens with tight end. Like once Kittle's gone, it's like people are going to start. There's going to be this point. Once the next 2 go, no matter how you prepare for it, the tight end scare, like it happens every draft, you know?
Especially when you're like, if you're like not drafting on Sleeper and you're drafting like ESPN, you see
Yeah.
like your position spots and it's like, oh, I don't have a tight end yet. Let me draft a tight end in my starting lineup. I'm not going to add 3 bench guys before I take a tight end.
Yeah. Yeah. That's another big thing. If you guys are drafting through Yahoo or ESPN, I think you'll be fine if you mock through Sleeper. And I'm talking from personal experience. But you do need to get somewhere prepared for the ADP of the other sites because it can really throw you off. Vincent says bully RB lead to the Laporta steal. Yeah, I mean this type of strategy can work out for sure if you hit on the right wide receivers. It's kind of similar to Elite Division Sports at the 1-3. except he goes quarterback, tight end. Like, these are two teams where the upside and the flex players are going to be running backs, and you both got early round tight ends. And now you both have two tight ends through the first 9 rounds. So you have to hit on the right wide receivers, and it becomes increasingly more difficult to do so as the draft continues. All right, I was not prepared for this pick whatsoever. That's okay. I still like Rachaad White in this range. Call me crazy, but it looks like most of you guys like him as well. I don't know if that's exactly who I would have picked, but all right. Well, I haven't been drafting a lot of this player, but I do like him. So I'm going to go Tyler Warren. Because apparently tight ends are at a premium in this draft too.
Again, running back tight end premium, an insane draft right now. But it is a little concerning, the quarterback situation in Indy. Like, Anthony Richardson can't read a blitz now, and his finger was facing the wrong direction, and Daniel Jones can't tie his cleats, it looks like. Like, he looks like he's 4. Like, it's not good in Indy, guys. It's not good.
I think the only saving grace is the fact that Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew found a way to support Brock Bowers. So at least the theory is there that Tyler Warren can be okay. So I'll just believe in that.
I'm just sure they just run the ball all the time.
Yeah. Despite everything, Warren has looked good.
Yeah, he had a decent game.
Yeah, and he's looked good through training camp and preseason, all that. So we will find out. I'm trying to prepare for this next pick. I think I know what I'm going to do. I got a couple questions. Cooper Kupp, baby. Here we go. Once again, I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. Going Justin Fields here. 12-man, J.J. McCarthy, Chase Brown, CMC, A.J. Brown, JSN, Evan Ingram, Flowers, Breece Hall. Flowers or Breece Hall in the flex. This is a good team for a 12-teamer. Obviously, you waited at quarterback. I'm okay with that. J.J. McCarthy, Michael Penix, those are my two. If I punt quarterback, those are the two guys I'll draft. Drake May, close. Cam Ward, T-Law in the discussion. And then Bryce Young, Stafford, two are still out there on waivers probably. But yeah, I like J.J. McCarthy. Keep in mind what quarterbacks are out there on waivers if things go south. But Chase Brown, how'd you get Chase Brown, CMC, and A.J. Brown in a 12-teamer? Did Chase Brown fall that far in the third is what I'm assuming?
I'm thinking Chase Brown fell. Or CMC
and JSN.
fell. Or CMC fell.
I'm thinking
what pick did you have? Hakuda Matata? What pick? I want to say he had like pick 11 or 12.
Yeah, it's got to be a late first rounder. And I think the order goes CMC Brown, or CMC AJ Brown, Chase Brown, JSN, which is a really solid start for a 12-teamer. Unless this was a keeper league and he kept, because Breece Hall's here too, so he would have had to be in the 5th at that point. I mean, he got some really good top end value. Flowers is a good alternate flex option. Ingram's fine at tight end. Great squad for a 12-teamer, even if QB on paper is a little bit weaker, theoretically. 1-6 for CMC Brown in the 2nd. Yeah. So you got Chase Brown in the 3rd, at the end of the 3rd. JSN beginning of the 4th. Hall in the 5th. Or I mean, either, however it worked out.
Hall and then JSN in the 5th, maybe.
Maybe, but I'm still thinking JSN went before Breece Hall.
That team is really good. You pray to God JJ McCarthy can run the offense at all, and you're fine, fine. Because McCarthy also adds the running, which we saw a little bit this weekend. He's gonna get some nice rushing yards.
But even then, like once again, that quarterback, there's going to be names here out on waivers that can replace if the situation goes south. So I'd be really happy right now. This feels like your whole league was overreacting to certain situations and you took advantage of it. I've been keeping up to date with all the Packers training camp stuff. Matthew Golden is really impressed. Dobbs and Love are also looking good too. Definitely worth going after them in fantasy. Yeah, and I think right now, I mean, Golden has an elevated draft stock because, I mean, Jaden Reed's hurt. And I think Dobbs is always fine. Like Dobbs is worth a late round pick. He has a good chemistry with Jordan Love and has, you know, historically been a red zone option. But like, what is the true upside with Dobbs is what I worry about. In deeper drafts, best ball drafts, I'm fine with Dobbs, but
I've
he's
heard the
been
exact opposite about Jordan Love, by the way. Matt LaFleur has
really.
not been happy with him, and he was bad in that preseason game, too. So I've heard the opposite about Love. I have heard Golden's been fine. I've heard their defense has been good, and I've heard Dobbs has been a little bit more fun. But I've heard LaFleur's getting kind of fed up with Jordan Love at quarterback.
I have had the scaries about Jordan Love, and it's just kind of split for me because like I liked him a lot going into last year. Then he was hurt early. Then they ran the ball a lot, so I don't really know what to expect this year. So I just haven't really been drafting a lot of him. And in like a single quarterback league, like I don't think you really have to aggressively chase Jordan Love. Like you look at the QBs in that range. I'd rather just draft like Prescott or Stroud a tad earlier, or wait and go for that. Like I go for that tier is not even the right term, but like if I don't get Jordan Love, I'm not super like upset. I'll just take a JJ McCarthy or Penix or both of them or whatever. So I do like Matthew Golden. Don't get me wrong, but if his draft stock gets too elevated, I think Jaden Reed is going to end up being the better value. And Reed might be fine week one. It's just hard to tell right now. I like Golden, but once again, we talked about it earlier. I like Golden more if Jaden Reed is on the field. I think it helps Matthew Golden. All right. 10-man full PPR and ESPN pick 8. How would you address the first 4 rounds? I find myself going Genty, Collins. Then I get stuck round 3. Then I feel the need to go elite quarterback in round 4. In a 10-teamer, I don't think you need to go elite quarterback in round 4 at all. I just really don't think you need to. Genty Collins is fine. I think we talked on last night's stream or the night before about a couple of different options for you at the turn. No matter what you do at the turn, between the 1-8 and your second round selection, like you're going to come out with 2 stud players. And then I would just get the next best running back and wide receiver with those next 2 picks. You don't need to go early run quarterback. You just truthfully don't. I guess I'm going Marvin Mims, my boy, right here. But yeah, you think about a 10-man league, like there's going to be so many good quarterbacks. There's going to be 1 or 2 quarterbacks that fall, whether it's Baker or Bo Nix or Justin Fields. If you get a guy in that range, that's fine. And if you don't, then the next tier quarterbacks is fine. I would focus on wide receivers and running backs. Get a good value tight end. You can still get a good value quarterback, but I don't think that you need to go early elite round quarterback unless your heart is absolutely dead set on it. And I think generally speaking, from where you're drafting, it's not necessary. Like there's nobody falling in that range. And you're not in position to like take a Josh Allen, for example, where you can just go all in. So I just don't think you need to do it. All right, Chase Brown was in the 3rd, Jason in the 4th, Hall in the 5th, Flowers in the 6th. Yeah, I don't know what was going on. I mean, Flowers in the 6th is normal. I mean, Chase Brown in the 3rd is normal, but not the end of the 3rd. Jason in the 4th is a steal. Hall in the 5th. I can understand like a league overreacting to Breece Hall right now. I think for you, this was a really good draft. Tight ends and QBs went quick, so I stuck with wide receiver running back, which is the right move. mean, you still got a really good value in Evan Ingram. The verdict's out on McCarthy, but the upside is there. Especially like when you're outweighing, like typically in a 12-man or 12-teamer, like you end up with JJ McCarthy, the rest of the starting roster still doesn't look this good. So this is a big win for you. Dara stuck at the 1-9. Want to go CMC, but do I risk him coming back at 2 and just go Neighbors? A pretty casual league. I'd probably go Neighbors personally. It's tough to say. Like I mean, you know your league better than I do, but still, in terms of like, it's a casual league. Like, I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, it could be as casual as whatever, and somebody could still take CMC by the next pick. You know what I mean? And CMC's range is like anywhere from like the 1-6 to like the 2-6. So, really difficult to say. But I think generally speaking, I have Neighbors over CMC. I still have that kind of tier of wide receivers right there. Neighbors, Amon-Ra, Nico ahead of CMC in pretty comfortable fashion. Would you try to grab Kittle in the 4th or wait on Warren for QBs later, Bowen, Fields? Yeah, I'd like to get, like, if you can get Kittle in the 4th, I think that's enough of a positional advantage that you can go ahead and pull the trigger. If you can get Kittle in the 5th in a 10-man, absolutely do it. I'm fine with that. Bo versus Fields, I like both guys here. I do think Fields' ADP will move up. I've been trying to reflect that in the 2 mocks tonight. I think he will go in front of Kyler and Herbert, Goff. We see Drake May gone at the 12-5 tonight. But yeah, if you get Bo or Fields, you're still in a really good spot. You still have a quarterback with elite upside. If you have any worries, injury for Fields, Bo Nix doesn't actually make the leap forward in his sophomore season, and
I hope not.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. But you know, you can still draft those guys and take a late round dart throw, like a Michael Penix, like a JJ McCarthy, like a Cam Ward, whoever you prefer. Trevor Lawrence, you know, whatever.
Big
Waivers
T
are
loss being slept on a little bit this year.
yeah, Liam Cohen offense. He's got weapons. Basically goes undrafted. So who'd you get in between Flowers and JJ McCarthy is what I want to know. Who else is on that bench? I think Justin Tucker's going to be a huge steal in late rounds. Yeah, could be. What's your opinion on Genty and where he should be picked? I mean, we kind of talked about it earlier, the first draft. I'm fine with Genty. I have Derrick Henry and A-Chain in front of Genty. Genty C-Mac is splitting hairs. Like, do you like the upside of C-Mac, but the injury risk? Do you like the upside of Genty, but the unknown of the rookie season and how things are going to translate, even though it's pretty evident he's going to see 80% of the carries at worst. Yeah, I mean, I think Genty's being drafted appropriately. He did go pretty early in tonight's draft at the 1-8 tonight. In the second draft, I think the first draft he went at the 1-9. So, like, I'm still drafting Henry, Amon-Ra, Neighbors, Nico, A-Chain in front of him, and at times Brian Thomas Jr. as well. At times Christian McCaffrey as well. But it's easier for me to say, as always, I'm going to be in a lot more drafts than most of you guys out there. So I'm going to have exposure to everybody. You know what I mean? So generally, I think he's being drafted appropriately. I have Olave and Mixon stashed on the bench. I mean, for a 12-teamer, once again, like, that's fine. That's good. Number 11 spot again, practicing for League 4. We'll take a look in a minute here. League 4 is going to be a good league. Hollywood Brown, Ferguson, Pierce Hall. Yeah, that's a loaded squad, dude. You got Ferguson and Ingram when people are going tight end early and aggressively. This is why you don't panic at that position. Very nice. I would say that's a big win for you. Once again, if quarterback goes south, I would assume there are options out there on the waivers that can give you some hope at worst. And there's always at least one quarterback who emerges who is playable. All right. Let me know in the chat if you guys want a team review. Coming up on 2 hours here, 2 mock drafts. Good stream tonight. We'll be doing this. Actually, let me double check the schedule. Because I think we have an actual draft next week. I'm going to say we plan on doing this every Sunday, but then we have some actual drafts coming up. So next Sunday, we have League 2. I don't know why League 2 ended up drafting so early, but we're drafting Sunday at 9. Unless I think that was a league that we may vote to draft at 8. Somebody requested that. Yeah.
I'm in that league. I'm in League 2. Hooray!
Yeah. So yeah, you had to be here. But what we'll do that night is like we'll do the draft. We'll review all the teams, all that good stuff, whether we start at 8 or 9 p.m. It looks like we're starting at 8 p.m. And then we'll do a mock draft after. And I don't know. Depends on my level of tiredness. Maybe I'll do 2 mock drafts, even if Pete needs to bounce or whatever. I don't know. But yeah. Sunday nights, mock drafts. But we will have, then the following Sunday, League 3 is drafting. And then after that, like we're at the point where we don't really need to do mock drafts anymore. It's more like fantasy Q&A time, where that'd be the 31st, leading into the week of week 1. So it is coming quickly, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Who am I going to pick? This next pick. I think originally I kind of had in mind drafting a second tight end behind Tyler Warren, but I think I would just fight on waivers for Hunter Henry or Brenton Strange or Isaiah Likely or Kate Otten or whoever. I do like Rico Dowdle right here if I wanted to take another running back. But I think I'll throw a dart at a wide receiver to wrap this bad boy off. And let's go Donta Thornton. Why not? All right, let's start doing some team reviews so we're ahead of schedule. But yeah, thank you guys for mocking tonight. It's been fun. Can feel the fantasy energy shifting in the air. All right, Kyler Murray. Still a fine value. I feel like Kyler's going to be pushed back a little bit. Still a top 10 fantasy quarterback. He's fine. Bowers at the 4-2. That is so McBride at the 212, then Bowers lasted to the 4-2. This was an interesting draft. Like the latest I've seen Bowers in a while, like ever, maybe. Swift, Pollard, Warren, Garando, Dowdle. Pretty good value at running back there. Neighbors, B. Tom Evans, Shaheed, Burden. Yeah, that's a fine squad. I just think really, like, you're not going to get Bowers in the 4th. So just bear that in mind when you're like looking at this as potential practice. But Kyler, Bowers, Neighbors, B-Tom, Swift, Pollard, Evans, whoever's left over in the flex. So I'd be pretty dang happy here. But I do believe in Swift and Pollard personally if you kind of go 0 RB, so to speak. So, yeah, good squad. Vincent with the super chat. Thanks, Bird Shot Show. Giants tap out week 10. Neighbors gets shut down, has his foot surgery. Wanda Robinson wins leagues as ADP. Bold prediction. I like it. I don't like it because I've been drafting a lot of neighbors, but these are the weird type of things that do happen at times. But will it be Wandell Robinson or Darius Slayton who wins leagues? All right. Thanks again for the super chat, Vince. Glad you got to get in some mocks tonight, my guy. All right, Elite Division Sports came out the gate with 3 running backs and a quarterback and a tight end, and still took a tight end in the 9th and a quarterback in the 13th. So Hurts, Kelsey, Andrews, Stroud. I mean, you're good at both positions there. Barkley, Kyron, Kamara, Najee. I mean, that's fine. Waddle, Diggs, Cup, Keenan Allen, DeAndre Hopkins. So really what you'd be looking at here is like these wide receivers absolutely have to hit, but you only really need like 3 guys to hit and be consistent and to give you safe floors. And this team, albeit against normal consensus, good work. You'd be starting Hurts, Kelsey, Barkley, Kyron, flexing Kamara. Then you're literally just starting whoever's giving you the best. I mean, probably Waddle and Diggs. And then you could flex one of the 2 tight ends potentially, or you're also flexing Cup or Keenan Allen. So I do like Keenan Allen as a good value here. I think you reached on Kelsey. I'm not taking Kelsey before Laporta or Ingram. You could argue him in front of Ingram if you want. That's fine. I just think you didn't need to take Kelsey this early. And like, so for example, if you took T-Mac there or Worthy or Devonta Smith or even Rashee Rice, even though we're assuming he's going to be suspended, it would have helped this team a lot, especially since you still got Andrews in the 9th. Everything else I don't really have an issue with. But yeah, you really need these late round wide receivers to hit. It's an interesting build for sure. Your boy at the 1-7. Lamar in the 4th. Colston Loveland, Dallas Goedert. That's fine. Bucky, Harvey, Scattaboo, a little light there at running back, and 2 of them are rookies. One of them an injured rookie, so that scares me. Puka, Hill, Flowers, Adunze, Reed, Ayuk, Thielen. I mean, good wide receiver value through the draft. So you're starting Lamar, one of the 2 tight ends, Bucky, Harvey, you're going to have to start him. Puka, Hill, Flowers, Adunze. It's a good bench. It'll work. But a lot is relying on RJ Harvey in this build for sure. Andrea, you got Purdy and Kraft. Pretty good squad here. A-Chain, Chuba, Jones, Charbs, Eckler, Dylan Sampson, Nico, MH, Devonta, Godwin, Mooney. And obviously Godwin and Mooney are a little banged up. But Purdy, Kraft, A-Chain, Chuba, Nico, MH, Devonta, Aaron Jones. It's a good lineup. Chris Godwin, when he's healthy, comes back in. He might be ready week 1. Charb's a good handcuff, a good bench. I mean, once again, the 112 can be difficult, but it's a pretty even peel roster across the board. So I wouldn't feel too bad about this team. Nothing like lights out about it. I mean, Nico and A-Chain's a great start, but ultimately, it's a good squad. Bryce at the 1-4. We got Josh Allen, Say No More, T-Hawk, Kincaid. Good little combo there. Now, like, this is where I think Hawkinson should be drafted. Like, in the 9th round, I think Hawkinson's a good pick. Double hero RB approach, Gibbs and Jacobs, followed by Bigsby and Jalen Wright, but a lot of good value knocked out at wide receiver. Sutton, Rashee Rice, Myers, Addison, Pearsall, Pittman. This is a good squad. I mean, it's also kind of hard to go early quarterback and double hero RB. So Josh Allen, one of the 2 tight ends, Gibbs, Jacobs, Sutton, Myers. I mean, the only issue here is Rice is facing a suspension. Addison's already suspended. So Like early in the season, you got to rely on Pearsall and Pittman, but down the stretch, this team could be really solid. I like this squad. Ray Gamer, Burrow, Say No More, Johnny Smith, Zach Ertz. That's fine. Henry Cook, ETN, Rashad White, Braylon Allen. Good values at running back. Lundo, Adams, Pickens, Shakir, Bateman. Once again, good values at receiver. It's a pretty okay squad. Burrow, one of the two tight ends. Henry Cook, Lundo, Adams, Pickens, Shakir's a starting lineup. That's solid. And a good bench. I like this team a lot, actually. Nothing crazy. But going into the season, I think you'd be just fine. Couldn't pass up Bowers. Yeah, I mean, the value's there. You take the value for sure. Let's see here. Teammate Vincent goes really aggressive at running back. Genty, Chase Brown, Walker, Connor, Pacheco, Laporta, and Joku at tight end, Drake May at QB, Hunter, Debo, Trey Harris. We have Kyle Williams and Rondell Robinson. So starting Drake May, I'm okay if Drake May's your guy, but I still have Stroud, Prescott, Purdy over him. And if you're gonna go this aggressive at running back, I mean, like I've seen similar builds work, but you have to hit on the right wide receivers. Is Travis Hunter, Debo, Trey Harris, Kyle Williams, Rondell Robinson going to do it? I don't know. Can you play waivers at receivers? Sure, but at least one of these guys has to hit, and the running backs have to stay healthy because you have to flex those guys all year. Very aggressive approach. Drake May, one of the two tight ends, Genty Brown, Hunter, Debo, Walker, Connors is starting lineup. I just don't think Pacheco is necessary here. And I think right now Henderson, Swift, and Pollard have more upside. But I think this team, like, if you went Devonta Smith, J-Mo, or Pickens, Flowers, whoever you prefer there at the 5'8", and then Hunter, I mean, Calvin Ridley in that mix. I mean, I do think an aggro running back build can work, but I prefer it with 4 running backs than like a swing running back at the end, whoever you like. But yeah, those wide receivers have to hit. Mike sounds a little muffled. I don't know. I'll have to look after.
It sounds fine to me. I don't know.
Okay. I'll
ASMR.
try to. It's like nothing has been touched or changed. Maybe it's just because the stream's been on for a minute. I don't know.
True.
How does the Slater injury affect Hampton? I mean, it impacts him, but I think he'll be fine. We've talked about it quite a bit over the past weekend. I think Slater missed 2 games last year, and Dobbins was fine. It impacts the passing game worse, but it does. It is a hurt. It hurts the team overall for sure. You're welcome, bro. Hope we get you in more mocks as the off season progresses. 5 backs in a row isn't insane. It's a bit insane, you know. It is. I have RB capital to trade for a wide receiver. I mean, people will say this when they do a quote unquote Billy or bully build
until they bully you back and don't trade you a wide receiver and say, tough. Deal with it. You can't start them all.
Yeah, like if the cards fall right and another team has enough injury at running back and enough depth at receiver, then yeah, you're going to be the first trade candidate. But then a lot of times people don't want to trade because they're scared to let go of those wide receivers because that's now the core of their team. They'd rather play waivers. And then also, generally speaking, it's probably not Connor or Pacheco who you're going to be trading. It's going to be the hot hand of Genty, Chase Brown, or Walker. So, like, just generally speaking, and it depends on the league too and who you're playing with, but I just don't ever want to bank on, like, oh, I can trade players and that's how my team's going to work out. And I actually think, like, once again, I think Pacheco was unnecessary. And if you went, like, I would have gone Devonta Smith in the 5th and then Hunter's okay if he's your guy there, right? I mean, really, if you have any combination of Devonta Smith, J-Mo, Pickens, Hunter, Flowers, Ridley at the 5'8" and 6'5", I think this team is fine. I'm not super high on Drake May at the end, but if he's your guy, whatever, you know. But you just really got to hit on those wide receivers. Also, I'm not taking 2 tight ends in this type of build. I'm taking an additional wide receiver there. So those would just be my thoughts. All right, quickly here. Pete's got Bo Nix in the 9th, Fergie in the 12th. Maurice Hall, Monty, Brian Robinson, Tajay Spears, Bashaw Tootin. Not too bad. CeeDee Lamb, AJ Brown, Worthy, Judy, Jennings, Hollywood Brown. I feel like you were kind of panicking this draft, but I don't think it turned out too bad.
No, I'm fine. I'm fine with the team.
This was an intense draft. Nix, Fergie, Hall, Monty, Lamb, Brown, Worthy, Judy, Robinson, and Jennings are flexible. Spears, Tootin, good bench running backs. Hollywood fine on the bench. A couple banged up guys, but upside is there for sure. Not a bad team. This was a good draft, guys. I mean, this is the time of year where like I'm gonna, give you guys my true advice and speak out a little bit, but ultimately, I think all the teams we went over could work, even if there were some adjustments. And I think ultimately some really good squads. All right. Speaking of good squads, I have Justin Fields, Tyler Warren. There's some gamble there. Don't get me wrong. C-Mac, Henderson fell, which I think really helped this team. And I got Mason and Dobbins. So I just ended running back there because running back was light as the draft went on. Amon-Ra, Garrett Wilson, Scary Terry, J-Mo. Also, like I felt like I picked up some good value at receiver while crazy things were happening in this draft. And I just ended with 3 dart throws at receiver: Mims, Christian Kirk, Donta Thornton. So be starting Fields, Tyler Warren, C-Mac, Henderson, Amon-Ra, Garrett Wilson, Scary Terry, J-Mo. I feel like this is a pretty good bench for running backs and receivers. If I need to, I can fight at quarterback and tight end on the waivers. I'd rather draft the skill position guys. Vincent, I'm a believer in those rookies committed to the gamble. Hey, go get your guys. Trust your conviction. May's your guy. Go get him. All right, boys and girls, 2 mock drafts down. We had fun tonight. This was good practice. We have filled 4 redraft leagues for the year. If I get enough interest, I'll squeeze in 1 more, but we're not doing more than 5. Over the next couple of weeks, we'll have all of our leagues drafting. I'll be streaming every draft. I'll be streaming the Superflex draft as well that we do every year. Won't be streaming the auction draft. I don't really stream that one because it takes a long time. But I mean, guys, we're just a few weeks away from like the real fantasy content will start coming out Thursday, the 28th, leading up to Thursday, the 4th, which is NFL kickoff. And then it'll just go from there. So we're getting much closer, guys. We're going to have a lot of real drafts streamed for you guys. But in the next week or so, we'll continue to have a lot of content coming out, some draft strategy videos, some of the normal videos that I put together for you guys, and we'll continue to do some mock draft streams, a lot of underdog streams, and our first real draft will be Sunday night, I guess at 8 p.m. Eastern time, and Pete and I will both be on for that draft. So make sure you guys are staying posted. I have a video that'll go out tomorrow for you guys. I'm going to have a video out every day this week is my goal. And I'll be back streaming tomorrow night. We'll see what happens. Underdog, maybe a mock draft in there. And great stream. Thanks to everyone who drafted tonight. Thank you guys for talking some fantasy. Pete, I'll let you say bye, and we'll be done.
Yeah, a lot of fun tonight, guys. Making my brain have to work in the second one overtime there. But yeah, real fantasy draft next week. All the preseason hype coming our way. Don't overreact, guys. Appropriately react. Yeah, so should be a lot of fun. Can't wait to actually get the regular season started and start grinding out even more content for you people. Shout out Cam Little, 70-yard field goal. Maybe he's going to be my number 1 kicker week 1 just because.
Yeah, we're not too far away from Pete's first kicker ranking video, so be on the lookout, guys. Couple weeks, but we'll get there. So, yeah, Cam Little, I do feel bad it doesn't actually count for the NFL record. But,
I know it doesn't count. I'm sure Justin Tucker can hold on to that, but it's a positive side because it looked like it was good from 71. I think he had a little extra in it too.
Yeah, we'll see how that shakes out. I mean, especially if you're in a league with extra points for like 50+ yard field goals. I mean,